Welcome to episode 21. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Arumba. Appreciate you joining us today. Before we get started, we were just wrapping up our Holy War, the first one we've started doing. Before we start letting the game tick, I want to cover two quick mechanics, and then we're going to get as much gameplay in this episode as possible. I want to talk about de jure and de facto, and that's actually, I always pronounce it de jure. It's not right. It's de jure, which is it sounds Italian to me, but I know it's right. It's de jure. But so I'll try to say it de jure, but I learned it as de jure, and it seemed more French to me when I learned it, de jure, but it's not. It's de jure. But anyway, let's briefly talk about what de jure and de facto mean in the context of this video game, and then we're also going to talk about how kingdom and empire drift work. All right, so first off, let's talk about de jure. Damn it, de jure. So every single duchy and kingdom and empire in the game has a de jure sort of area that it's supposed to be. So let's use our homeland here as an example. So if we go to Sweden here, we click on this button and then we make sure that the de jure button is selected, we can see that these are the duchies within the Kingdom of Sweden that should be part of Sweden by history, essentially. They're supposed to be part of it, right? Now, if we click on each one of these, we can see what is the de jure counties of that specific duchy. And we can quickly work our way back up to Kingdom of Sweden, Kingdom, Empire of Scandinavia, etc. So when something is de jure part of a duchy, and let's say, well, we'll use Ireland just because it's the easiest example. Most players start here. If we're using Ireland, and let's say you start off as the Duke of Connacht, or yeah, Connacht I think it is, then you start off as the King of Connacht. Gosh, we're 35 years into the game. He still hasn't taken over Breffni. But anyway, he's the Duke, and Connacht is supposed to be this, which includes the county of Breffni. So he has a de jure or de jure claim on Breffni. Like she should have it. It's supposed to be his. So he has a right to attack this guy, or at least to try to vassalize him. Same thing holds true if you're up here. You've got two of these counties, and you want to press a de jure claim on these two. Or likewise, if you create the bottom half of Ireland and then you want to take over the top half, once you have Ireland, the de jure, this is Ireland by de jure. Now, de facto, the next topic here is more what it actually is. So for instance, this is very important when you're talking about laws, and it happens all the time down here. So, okay, this county here is de jure part of the Kingdom of Portugal, but the Kingdom of Portugal does not exist. So it's supposed to be part of the Kingdom of Portugal. It's actually currently held by, who was it? This guy. So King Ramiro of Castile owns the Kingdom of Castile and these counties, which are de jure part of Portugal, but de facto part of this kingdom. Because they're actually part of this kingdom right now, they're considered de facto. Now the thing is that the laws that apply here are going to be based on the Kingdom of Portugal's laws, unless the Kingdom of Portugal doesn't exist, in which case it's going to go on the title of the highest ranked person in this independent realm. Okay, hopefully that all made sense. You'll find some interesting things where, like if you are the next door neighbor to a king and he has de jure claims on you, his laws apply to you even if you're not part of the kingdom. And then, since this is getting a little bit complex, let's just try to speed it up a little bit so we can get on to the gameplay. Let's quickly cover how kingdom drift and empire drift work. So, what happens is, if we go to the kingdom views, which I think is, what is this? Yeah, the O key, we can see that this is the Kingdom of France, right here, France, right? So if we look at the de jure kingdoms of the world by pressing O, we can see that there's the Kingdom of France, and there's also the Kingdom of Aquitaine, the Kingdom of Brittany, the Kingdom of Frisia, the Kingdom of Burgundy. Now, the Kingdom of Aquitaine has not been created, and it almost never gets created. So what ends up happening is that since France is the de facto ruler of the Kingdom of Aquitaine, over the course of 100 years, this will, look down here, I can't really show you, because if I move the mouse then it kind of disappears, but in the bottom right hand corner here it says that the Duchy of Poitou is being incorporated de jure into the Kingdom of France 33 out of 100 years, meaning that it's 33% of the way to being completely consumed by France, and if it gets all the way to 100, it does not belong to Aquitaine anymore and will not belong to Aquitaine unless Aquitaine gets created and then conquers that area and holds it for 100 years again on their own. So, and then one last minor thing, because this can confuse people as well, is that it takes 100 years for de jure drift to work, unless it's been drifting in one direction already for a while. If I were to conquer the Duchy of Poitou, it would actually take me 133 years to de jure incorporate it into my kingdom, because I've got to count down Kingdom of France's years before I can start counting up my 100. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask questions down below. I'll explain them in the comments. And then finally, if you press P, you can see the de jure kingdom, empires of the world. This works on the same level, but for kingdoms. There's not going to be a lot of empire drift, because in order for empire drift to happen, the entire kingdom has to be part of an empire. And so, especially this early in the game, the entire kingdom is usually not part of the de facto empire. So hopefully that made sense. It might not, but I figured I'd try to impart some knowledge today. And with that being said, now let's get back to our basic activities like murdering, stealing, and building things. And holy warring. I invited a lot of people off camera, like everyone. A lot of people want to help kill that guy. This is just a bishopric, so we can assault that a lot easier than we could the castle. So we can take that, and then we'll send our army here, and we should end this holy war here in a second. Looks like we got a little influx of money. Any chance we can build a trade post over there? That was the guy we gave our daughter to. We'll give him to the next guy, whoever, whatever. And then let's see, can we plot for another trade post? Nope. So instead, we'll just murder the next Strabon. I don't think he has an heir. Damn, he still does. He's got a lot of little brothers. But I am quite ruthless. We will just exterminate the third family in our short history. Keep in mind, we're still on our first character. We've been playing him for over 30 years now. And he's really, I mean, his stats are okay, but just take a look at the next level. Like right now, we have 12 diplomacy and 12 stewardship, which are the two stats I care about the most when I'm playing as a patrician. Our next person's got a little bit less stewardship, but 20 diplomacy, because we've been kind of feeding him diplomacy with that event up there. And then the next person below that is going to be even better. He's 11 now, and he's shaping up to be a god of stats. Yeah, that's about reasonable. 200 gold is no big deal. Vassals are not happy. We might murder this guy. No, he still likes us. He's at positive 90, so I'm not worried about that. Ooh, and he's a cavalry leader. That's good. We will talk about these eventually, just not yet. Later. Yeah, even the ones that are mad about this the most still like us, because we have that, just a lot of good stats and stuff. Yes, yes, surrender. Okay, so we've just won our first holy war. Peace be with you. We surrender under these terms. Mayor Botstein gains 67 piety. 33 prestige. Our Lollard religion gains 1% moral authority. Moral authority isn't really that important to our religion because what moral authority does is, let's say that the Catholic faith, if we go to the ledger, we can see the moral authority of all of the religions. Here we go. So let's just say that the Catholic faith has very low moral authority. And it's not letting me sort this the way I want to, but let's just say they dip below like 30% moral authority. What that does is cause more heresies to happen within the Catholic realm. Well, we're already a heretic, so having low moral authority as a heresy doesn't really matter because so whatever. But we didn't get all of the prestige and everything because we called our allies in, but doesn't matter. We've got 3,600. We're doing okay. Now, this happens a lot when you do holy wars. When you do a holy war, every single item in that county becomes ours, so we get a lot of extra land real quickly. And the easiest way to handle this is, an episode or two ago we talked about how you can get really good stat counselors. Let's see if there's anybody that we could invite real quick, if we can get like a really good marshal. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this just because it might, it could take 5 or 10 minutes to really maximize this strategy. If I don't find somebody like right away, then I'm just going to give up. Because it doesn't really matter to me that much, it's not that important. How about maybe stewardship? Could we do that? Any stewards want to come here? No. Alright, oh well, whatever, doesn't matter. So you could do that, though, if you had time. The other thing you can do is just right-click and create a new random vassal, which is the easiest thing to do, because they're your culture, your religion, and they start off with all of the benefits as if you just found that person. You don't have any direct control over their stats. Like, this is terrible, for example. This Baron has 0 stewardship, but oh well, it's quicker and simpler, and unless you're really worried about completely min-maxing the game, it's not really that important. Now, we did capture 2 counties there, so we've got too many holdings. And actually, we have a castle, which I don't want. I'm going to go ahead and give it to our steward. And what he'll do, because he is a mayor is never going to want to hold a castle. So watch. If I grant him that castle, and I make it the grand city of Marienburg, that's where he is, right? Yep. So if I make it the grand city of Marienburg, and then I check his holdings, he's got the grand city and he's got the barony, I let the game tick for just 1 day, and it's gone. He immediately is going to pawn that off to he's going to basically do what I just did. He's going to create a random vassal. Because when you are a mayor, you get a penalty for holding the wrong type of building, and vice versa. If you're a castle type person and you hold cities, that's bad. If you hold bishoprics, that's bad. You're not supposed to hold the wrong holding. You can, but it's almost never worth it unless you have just no other options for holdings. And then let's just create, perhaps we can actually land our son. Usually I don't like to land people because he's going to take his kids with him, which means I don't have control over their education. And also he has just characters in general have a tendency to pick up the absolute worst possible traits when you don't have control over them. So, yeah, even though it'd be nice because he'd get some more money and he'd build up more prestige and things, which would be useful. Gosh, he's really got a lot of money. Look at that, 500 gold. That'll be nice when we die and we get his money plus our money. We'll come in with quite a bit. But yeah, I'm not going to give him any land. Let's just go ahead and let's find characters, search the realm for men who are not in prison, who are any marriage, who are not rulers, who are our culture and our religion, and they are adults. Yes. Sort by highest stewardship, and bam, you're the guy. Nope. He's the heir to the barony, so I don't want him. But we'll take this steward. That's fine. We'll make him a landholder. Here, you can have that. Not that one. You can have, yeah, that one. Samland. I just want to make sure that that's not the, yeah, that one's not going to have any income. Brandenburg. I don't want to give away the ones that have income, because I want the income. And we'll release our levy, and let's just take a quick look, see how Denmark's doing as far as their army goes. 3,000, and what's Sweden up to? 3,000. Now we don't want to do any holy wars, because if we holy warred Sweden or Denmark, then the Holy Roman Empire would probably get involved. But what we can probably do is, let's see what kind of war... Nah, we still have a truce for another 2 years with him. What kind of war options do we have here with you? Just seize the city plots, or not plots, but things. Man, her plot power's huge. We already have enough plot power, I'm not going to buy her. Okay. Well, we'll get these people involved, and... Vassal inheritance, warring. Okay, we're going to save that for the next episode. We'll talk about that. But in the next episode, what we'll plan on doing is we're going to cover that item, talk about this as well, and then we'll talk about potentially going to war with one of these bigger enemies that are nearby. So thank you once again for tuning in. I appreciate you coming to watch. You rock. You're awesome. And this is Arumba. Appreciate your time. See you in the next episode.